of the quality of translation to your favorite AI model, represented by our enchanting Anne-Maj here in my right corner. Hi, Anne-Maj, how are you doing today?
Hello, doing well.
Excellent. And it will be demonstrated by our brilliant Elena in our left corner of the ring. Elena, say hi.
Hello.
Hello. Guys, you all know what quality estimation is, right? Is there anybody who doesn't know what is Trados or quality estimation here? I don't think so. We're only 30 people, so must be everyone already deep in the topic. If not, say no in the chat now or forever hold your peace.
Well, it doesn't matter if they're not super into it, because I'll go over a little bit of explanations of what it is, what you can do with it. So no worries.
Okay. So the story goes like this. Since the beginning of time, Anne-Maj and her father, Jaap van der Meer, have been working on making quality estimation work. The pioneered models trained with all the data from the industry. Anne-Maj, you correct me when I'm saying something wrong. And forever, these models existed in separation from the world's popular CAD tool, Trados. Then suddenly along came Custom.MT and developed an integration to shake the foundations of whatever. So last year in November, if you remember, we made a kind of a quality estimation benchmark, seeing how much we can trust the different AI judges. Taos was winning in many language combinations. And we did this benchmark with a hidden purpose of introducing this integration that we're going to show today. Obviously, it's not enough to know that quality estimation can be useful. You also want to actually apply it in practice. If I take half a minute just to remind you the conclusions of that benchmark. If you haven't seen, it's available on LinkedIn Live, and you can watch the webinar. Just quickly to show, we looked at the behavior of different models, how they compare, and we made the terminology of mistakes caught, represented by this kind of red thingy here, like the percentage of these mistakes that the system catches, versus the benefits, like the percentage of good segments which are labeled as good. In the world of proper AI people, the metrics are precision and recall, which we, for some reason, don't use a lot in the localization industry. It's much easier, I think, to say, what's the percentage of mistakes that I can catch? So anyway, the conclusion was that you need to look for the right threshold and calibrate your system to find that ideal place in this kind of diagram where you catch the most mistakes and you still capture a lot of the benefits, because the stricter is your AI judge, the more it flags as a mistake. And that was our main outcome, how to make an kind of automated calibration. If you're interested in this part, please rewatch the previous webinar or come back to Anne-Maj and Elena for the details to test with your content. Without calibration, without proper preparation, it's risky to use AI judges. Like if you're having, I don't know, mission critical content, something like legal translations or medical translations, and there is no human checking, this is risky. But if you're working on large volumes of content and you're after efficiency and you'd like to have the state-of-the-art workflow with the latest automation systems, now this is all available and you can calibrate it and make it work and be a little bit ahead in what you do. I've been talking for maybe 5 minutes now, non-stop, and you haven't said anything to stop me. So it's about time that I stop myself and pass it over to you. If you have any questions, then Anne-Maj and Elena will answer them today. They are the experts driving the show. Good luck, have fun, and let's build the best localization system possible. Cheers.
Great, thanks. And yeah, I didn't stop you because I thought, well, maybe you'll do the whole presentation for me. So, but no, I need to take over now.
Women, huh?
Oh, 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 oh. Okay, I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
When I say something like this with our company, I'm supposed to put $20 in a jar. Elena is the guardian of the jar.
I think
Yeah.
for this one you need to put in $40. So
I was thinking more, but okay.
more.
Right. It was recorded, right? So you can take me
Oh,
directly to court.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
time somebody plays it, you put in another $20. So I think you'll be broke
very soon.
very soon.
I better hold my peace now before it comes to that.
Okay, yeah. So I was gonna also introduce you all a little bit to TAUS firstly, and to quality estimation in general. But I think the most important and the most exciting part of this webinar will definitely come from Elena a bit later on when you see it all in I was gonna say in real life, but in a real life situation at least. So we call Epic TAUS our quality estimation and automated post-editing API your AI quality companion. Oops, I'm using multiple screens, but now now I'm in the right screen. So at TAUS, our mission is pretty straightforward, but also ambitious. We want to help you get the absolute best out of machine translation and AI. And our Epic API is really what at the heart of this. So it gives you the power to translate everything at scale without losing the grip on quality. And today, indeed, we'll talk about this in a bit more detail. So before we dive into the technology, I thought we should also look at the market because we are seeing in the past couple of years that industry researchers like Gartner, CSA, Slater, NIMSI, they are all signaling this same shift. And Gartner specifically has made this prediction that by 2027, every leading translation service will be using translation quality estimation, so TQE, as a standard part of their MT and post-editing efforts. So it's no longer this niche experiment that it was perhaps in the past years, but it's really a new baseline for global content. And you may have seen this. We have it, I think, also really big on our website. We think it's a massive opportunity. We were making this bold prediction that you can save up to 80% of your translation costs without sacrificing quality or compliance. And I know that sounds perhaps too good to be true, but we're going to break it down. We're going to tell you exactly how it works. Because I feel like the industry is currently maintaining more of a traditional workflow with a lot of unnecessary waste, as we call it, mostly happening in that last step in the review phase. So here we can look at the current standard workflow. We have the source text. It runs through translation memory. We hit it with machine translation, and then we send all of it, 100% of it, to a human for post-editing and review before we get the final output. Because we're still doubting if MT is reliable enough, and the answer is actually yes, because it has improved so significantly that the review everything model has become really outdated, and it's a very expensive bottleneck. So as I said, most translation teams review 100% of the machine translation output. However, we see that real world use cases show that 50% or more of that MT output is already good enough to publish immediately. And because we hold on to our old ways, that content is still being post-edited, reviewed, and most importantly, built. So we're wasting sometimes millions on work that simply doesn't need to be done. So before we dive into actual workings of then our product, Epic, let's also review the 3 core benefits. So QE helps us prioritize post-editing. So we use the scores that come out of QE to focus on the human effort only on the low quality segments. It also helps us confirm whether something is publication ready, so we can finally automate the decision of what goes straight to the reader, without risking critical errors or reputation, brand damage. And it also helps choose the right MT engine, because it allows you to track which engine performs better or best for specific content types or languages. So you know always which tool or which engine to use for the job you have at hand. So now let's really look at Epic. And this slide shows you that, so we have QE, quality estimation, and APE, automatic post-editing. We say, instead of human reviewing everything, you just insert Epic. And as you can see here, I don't know if you can also see my mouse, but at least here I'm hovering. Okay, good. So I'm hovering over the QE step. That gives you a quality score, and it tells you exactly what needs fixing. So it identifies which segments are publication ready and which of them needs help. So we're here. Does it look good? We send it straight to production. Does it not look good? We go to the APE step. And that's where we fix things like fluency or minor errors, but also it can take into account your specific terminology. We use large language models for that. And then once we have a post-edited translation, it goes back to the QE step to see if the quality score is an improved, or the improved segment is actually a higher quality score than the sentence before AP. And then in this scenario, human editors only step in when the AP isn't good enough. So we really focus human excellence, as we say, where it actually matters. Now, I said we can save up to 80%, and it sounds perhaps a bit like marketing fluff, but we can look at the math here. So here's an example. If your annual translation spend is 2 million, a traditional MTP workflow might cost about 400,000. But if you implement Epic and you run QE plus AP, you have a total cost of about 90,000. This is calculated based on that Epic reduces the human intervention to only the perhaps 20% of your content, the most critical content. So you'll see that your actual total cost drops with almost or a little over 1.5 million. If you're interested, send me an email after the webinar or now, if you already have my email address, but it'll be on the screen in a minute. And I can send you a link to this calculator so you can do your own calculation based on your numbers, because of this is of course just an example. Now, when we implement AI, of course, we want to make sure that we're keeping security in check. So let me share a bit more on that as well. It's built on the AWS enterprise grade infrastructure. We also have a strict no data retention policy. So any segments are processed in real time, discarded immediately. Nothing is ever stored or used for model training. We're also aligned with GDPR. And for APE, we use OpenAI with the enterprise level security measure that secures your data. Now, to show you that it's not just all theory, we're already working with over 40 LSPs, global enterprises. So you'll see here on the screen a few companies we're working with and the results we've achieved so far. And then, yeah, our API is always in development. So we have a couple of new features that we're added in 2026 so far. And a few that I wanted to highlight here is the batch processing, or batch API. So it means you can upload files for background processing with asynchronous results. So it's especially handy if you're processing large volumes and you don't really necessarily need real-time results. Nice thing there is that you also get 20% discount compared to the real-time rates. We've added RAG support, so you can upload your own translation memories and glossaries to customize the APE prompts. We have language identification support, so we penalize the scores that if the detected language doesn't match the target. We have also now added file support for mxlif and xlif. We have an Epic app coming soon, which is an interface on the Taos website where you can simply upload and download your files for both QE and AP. But most importantly, and I think that's why we're all gathered here, we also have new integrations with especially Custom.MT, who have built plugins, Trados, and I think a few others, but today we'll look at Trados. So you don't need to go from one tool to the other. You can actually just use one interface and connect to all the different tools, which is absolutely fantastic. And then, yeah, I think I wanted to maybe share also a little bit more on what Konstantin was saying earlier, that before you get started, it's important that you really kind of dive into the premise of automated quality estimation. So what it is, but also what it's not. So it's an estimation of risk. It's a score calculated by a machine, AI. So you don't expect 100% matches like the TMs give you or human quality evaluation. And then indeed this risk confidence balance that Konstantin was sharing. I was also going to refer to the benchmarking study, which is very interesting because it is still, it's AI. So you need to really find the right threshold that maximizes your savings and still minimizes the risk of any segments that are not good enough slipping through. So the benchmarking study is definitely a good resource to learn a bit more about that. And then I'm saying here actually step 1, 2, 3, 4, but they can kind of, they're not one after the other. You can also start at step 4 if you like. But you need to also make sure that you have, if you start a test, that you have the right type of content for that.
Ich höre mir gerade die neue Zukunft der Übersetzung an. Ui, ich bin hier laut.
Yeah, danke. Please keep your microphone off as much as possible. I know that we had this kind of incident, but let us not hear all your private matters, if possible. Yeah. Thank you.
No worries. So I was going to say that you need to, if you want to do a test, you need to find a data set that really is or a project that's a good representation of your typical data. So your results out of the test actually, make sense for the type of projects that you're running. And then, finally, you can explore the options available, the tool setup, sign up for a free trial, just start exploring. We're happy to help at Taos. So just reach out with any questions. So for now, I think we'll move to Elena for the demo, and then after that we open the floor for questions. So thank you.
Yes, I will take over in a second. Couple of comments on the QA. Please do keep writing your questions in the chat. We will come back to that later on when the demo is done. I see there are a couple of questions coming through, and I see there's also answers coming through. So thank you for the help. Anything that you want answered, please do write in. And with that being said, let me share my screen now for the demo. And everything is moving around. Good. Okay. Okay, so demo of, well, there's actually 3 things that I will partly demo today. One of which is this environment. This is Custom.MT main environment. This is called the console. It's basically an orchestration and setting environment where you can do all the settings for your machine translation workflow, including the QE step. And I will show you in a second. The second part will be done in Trados, and I will show you how to connect the Trados plugin itself, and of course the whole QE part. So for those of you who have never seen the console, well, not instructions, but information on what we actually do. Custom.MT is an aggregator for models. It was born like this. So as you can see, we have a list of models that you can use through us in the different plugins that we have. The available engines include both LLMs, so the actual GenAI things like Claude models, so like Claude, Gemini, and OpenAI. We also have Lara by Translated and Widen somewhere here by Unbabel, and the classical by now neural machine translation. So the Google Translate, you can have DeepL, you can have all this kind of other models over here. You can also train your own models and add them through to the workflow that you will see right now. These are all available through the console. Once you have selected the model that you want to use, what you do to create your translation workflow to connect to Trados is you create what we call templates. So Custom.MT templates are actually translation workflows. Let me take this one as an example. So basically what happens here is that the translations comes in from Trados or MemoQ or the other tools that we are integrated with. It goes through the whole template, so all the steps that you set, and then it's given back in Trados as if it was just one big step. So the first part that you actually need is, of course, the translation step. The translation step is done like this. So you have your source and target language, which will coincide with the ones that you have in the project in Trados, and you have the engines that you decide to use. If you have like a neural machine translation, sorry, let me move this. So if you have a classical neural machine translation like Google, that's just like translating with Google. If you go LLM, so if you decide to use an LLM for the translation part, like I did before with Claude, then you get a prompt engineering section over here where you can already give some instruction to the model. Now you might have seen the instruction that I gave to Claude, which might seem a bit weird. So translate the opposite of what the source says. Why am I doing this? Because at this point, as Anne-Maj was saying, machine translation has improved a lot. So sometimes it's kind of hard to find examples of bad translations. And what happens is that I cannot show you the difference between a good translation and a bad translation in Trados simply because there's no bad translation. Sometimes this also happens. So just to avoid anything, let's say that we are getting a very bad translation, which says exactly the opposite of what we are expecting in an actual translation. On top of the translation step, in theory, you can have many more steps in the translation workflow. You can have terminology, so you can add your own glossary, which will be applied during the translation step. You can also have post-editing, a first post-editing step, which is not what Anne-Maj was referring to before. This happens before the QE. So you have your own prompts. You can give some instruction to the LLM that will rewrite your translation. So the one coming here from Claude or from Google, that already tries to fix some of the issues that you know are going to be there. For the moment, let's not leave it. And finally, we get to the QE step. So the last step of the workflow is going to be the quality estimation. So quality estimation is different from quality evaluation. Quality evaluation basically takes a golden standard, so a translation that you have already deemed as good, and it compares to the machine translation that you're getting right now. Quality estimation is like as if you give a translation to a human and say, "Dear human one, tell me if this translation is good." Your human will read your source, you will read your target and says, yes, it's good, or no, it's not good. We are having an LLM do that. So we are asking Taos in this case, dear Epic, is this a good translation or not? Unfortunately or fortunately, this is still a machine, not a human in the background reading all the translations that come through. So what it actually does, it's not saying good or bad, it gives you a score. So it says this is an 85, this is an 86, or this is a 72. This is the famous threshold that both Anne-Maj and Konstantin were talking about before. So good, but 72, what does it mean? Is it good? Is it not good? That depends on the threshold that you actually see over here. The threshold is where you set the score that you decide it's the limitation for what is good and what is bad. So for instance, if you set 85, which is more or less an industry standard for, okay, let's start from there and see how it goes. This means that everything that the model scores from 100 to 85 is considered good. Everything that the Taos EPIC model decides it's below 85, it's going to be considered bad, right? It's given, it's not good enough. Two more things that you can do. Once a segment is scored as good, so above 85 in this case, you can confirm the segment, lock the segment, or both. So you can either decide to only confirm the segment, only lock the segment, although this is a bit weird if you just lock the segment and not confirm, but that can also be done, or both of them, right? So you confirm and lock the segment. This goes to the saving part of the QE feature. So if your linguist, so the linguist that will do the post editing sees the segment already as confirmed as locked, they can skip, right? They might read it for context, but they will not touch it. And that goes to the saving. Everything that is left unlocked and unconfirmed, it means that was deemed not good, which might trigger another loop of translation, post-editing, whatever, or the human review, of course. So we have set our threshold, in this case 85. Let's go see in Trados how this looks. So we save, we now have our template ready. In Trados, we are going to have this setup. Custom.MT is a plugin. You know, in Trados, there's this huge app store where you can find all the different apps that are developed by third parties. You can find us there, download and install. Then what you do is you connect Custom.MT as if it was a translation memory or any other model like DeepL or Google directly. So in the project itself, project settings, in the translation memory and automatic translation section, you get this AI localization with Custom.MT, which obviously opens here. And voila, so you connect by entering your token, and you have a drop-down list showing all the templates that you have for the language combination of that specific project. So if I had more than one for English US into what's this, French Canada, then I would see a drop-down list with all the different templates, and I could be choosing which one I want to use. In this case, I only have one, so easy choice. And now Custom.MT is connected. There's two possibilities. One is batch pre-translation. So basically you just go and batch pre-translate everything. The scores will already be connected to the single segments, and you will be able to then manipulate them into the editor. Or you go segment by segment just by opening the file in the editor, waiting for Trados. Okay. And hopefully, okay. Finally, getting the result out segment by segment just by clicking on the segment. In this case, as you can see, the segment was translated and already locked and confirmed. Why? You can go to View, AI localization with Custom.MT up here in the ribbon, and a new window will open here in the bottom, where you can see the TQE score. This is the score coming from the model. You can see your good threshold meaning the threshold that we have seen before that we set to 85%, the model that was used, Taos in this case, and well, the translation. Let's go another segment. I don't know what's going on with my Trados at this point. Okay, so 91%, 91. So it's still above the threshold. Let's see if I can find one. Oh, finally. Voila. So in this case, what happened? The Taos model decided that this is not really that good, to be completely honest with you. So it gave 82.5. So it's below the threshold. So the two things that happen, you get this very bright red bar, very hard to not notice in the bottom of your screen. And the segment is left open and not confirmed. Now, if you have the whole document translated now with some good locked segments and some not good, not locked segments, what you actually want to do is find out which are the segments that still need post-editing because they were deemed not good enough. What you can do is filter the segments. So there's another section here in the bottom window where you can say, okay, I want to see all the poor segments over down here, all the poor segments. You apply the filter, wait for, okay. And here you see the list of all the bad segment. Now I only see one because the other I never translated, so you are not seeing it over here. So this is the basic functioning. So let's see if I can find some more. How do I do it? So clear the filter. Let's go another couple of segments. Let's see if there's some, hello. Okay, another couple of bad ones, good one, good one. Okay, this is going particularly good, as always. Okay, so it's all good segments. So only that one will be left open for you to post-edit. Final thing that I actually find pretty useful is for you to understand how did the translation go all over, so in general. To do that, you can also let's save this. You can launch an analysis based on the QE. So in the batch task, you get this create a MTQE report, which is going to be exactly like a Trados analysis. When you launch it, yes, you can find it in the reports and you can see it in this way. So you can see the number of segments that were not scored by the QE, in this case, most of the text because we didn't go through all of it, but also how many poor segments there were, how many good segments there were. So you get an overview, segments and locked, confirmed words, etc. So the classical breakdown of the analysis. This way you can see how good the translation was overall, and therefore how much you might be facing in terms of post-editing. I think that would be most for the demo. So unless Anne-Maj has anything to add about QE.
No, not really. I do have also a colleague in the webinar here, Amir Kamran, who's our solution architect. So I don't know if he has any final thoughts to add, but
yeah, hello everyone. So yeah, nice demo. So I think everyone can see the usefulness of QE. I'm not sure if in this demo we were also demoing automatic post editing, because when something is below threshold, then the API can also suggest alternate translations. But I think the most important thing to understand is that the QE models, the way it is configured, it is mainly focusing on the good part. So if we are saying something is good, then we are trying to be more sure about that. When it's saying something is bad, there is a possibility that the translation is already good, but the model is saying it's bad, because the risk is not there. If we are saying it's bad and it's already a good translation, it will eventually go to a human, and the human will review and say it's good. But the other possibility, when the model is saying something is good, but it is not, that is the risk part. So we are trying to collaborate our models to minimize that risk. So you might see a lot of the time that the model is saying something is bad, but actually it's already good. So that has to be understood by the users, that this could happen. And also in the APE case, when we are suggesting something, we do the QE part again. So this is automatic process. You don't have to call the API multiple times. We will generate a response from LLM, and we will check the QE with the QE model again, whether the generated sentence by LLM is improving from the original translation or not. If it's not improving, then we will discard that, and we will not send a suggested translation so that the human can intervene. Only if it's improving, then we will suggest it, and then only then it will be charged as well. Yeah.
Okay, if my colleagues who are also in the room, apparently, don't have anything to add, I think we can go to the questions. So let me stop sharing so I can see.
I think we can make it very interactive.
1 second. So I will be reading. So again, if you have any questions, please do ask them in the chat. I will be reading in a second, and let's see who can take the question after that. So actually, the very first that came in a while ago was define reg. Please. I think this was actually answered by somebody after that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I already answered that in the chat, but maybe I
Okay.
can add a little bit more context about that.
Please.
So when you are using the Epic API, there is a possibility to just use the normal automated post editing, where you will use the prompts that we have customized for this task specifically. We have tested a lot of different prompting schemes and different LLMs, and then we came up with a combination that was working the best for us, and that is out of the box available. So this is one way of doing automatic post editing. But then you can also add context to the LLM. And for that, you have to provide your translation memories or glossaries or branding information. So you can upload that, and then we will do all the necessary work behind the scenes. So vectorizing things, and depending on the context when it is being translated, it can take different example sentences out of the database, different terminology, glossary out of the database, and then it can provide that to the LLM for rewriting purposes. So when we say RAG, this is what we mean. So you can upload your contextual documents, materials, and then that will be used for automatic post editing by default.
Okay. There's an interesting comment actually that I see in the chat. There are still bad translations in other language combinations. Yes. So I did take a very easy combination, to be honest. So English into French. It's always hard in this kind of webinars to find a language that everybody can kind of align more or less, or at least read. But yes, so the language combination is a big part of the impact that the QE or any model can have, including translation, including post-editing. We know that as much as the providers say, hey, it's multilingual, it's halfway multilingual, depending on how much training it got into that language, speaking for the translation part. So, of course, it does make a difference which language we are discussing. This is what goes back into what I think Anne-Maj was saying before. The first part of the process is always analyzing your content type, your language pair, and seeing which threshold is to be used for that content type, for that language combination. And this goes to another comment that I saw somewhere about the regulated industries. Yes, that does. So the content of your translation does make a difference. on the threshold. Regulated content, very, very high threshold. So very little error can slip through, if any. More kind of less regulated content, maybe a lower threshold could be enough. Yes, Anne-Maj, sorry.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just thought I'd add here, and probably Amir has more to say about that too. But what you've seen now is the use of our generic model. So that's a model that we trained on all the data that we have at Taos, and it's available off the shelf, so they say. But we also train custom models, and that's mostly recommended for in regulated industries, or when it's more of a niche language pair or domain, or just very terminology heavy. We can train a model that takes all of that into account. But I see Amir already nodding, so I'll just give the mic to you, Amir. You can explain it much better.
Yeah, so we have a generic model that we have trained with the data that we have. Taos has a history of collecting translation memories for a long time, and we are using that to fine-tune the models for this task. But of course, we were just doing it for some of the languages where we know that most of the clients are sending the data for example, the FIGS languages and some of the other European languages. So there are many languages for which the model does not have enough data. But what we usually do is whenever such a scenario comes, or even for a specific domain, then we do customization. So we will take some example data set from you, and then we add more data on top of that based on our database that we have, or based on crawling or other sources. And then we enrich the model and fine-tune the model to meet your requirements. If you need more information about that, you can always come and talk to us. But the good thing is that the integration will work automatically if there is a custom model available for you, because it is linked with your key and the language pair. So, for example, if you have fine-tuned a model for a particular language pair, then automatically that model will be used, and you will start getting scores from that. For the other part of the question about regulated industries, I think it is important to understand that here we are not talking about removing the humans altogether. It's more about automating things. It's more about how we can ease the work of humans. And there are so many use cases. This is just one use case where you are saying that how we can save cost on quality post editing, for example. But there are so many other use cases where, let's say, the content is very regulated. You have one translator. On top of that, you have two reviewers that are reviewing. Maybe there is a lead linguist that is spot checking things. So you can use quality scores there in different ways. Maybe you can eliminate one of the reviewers and replace it with this quality threshold. Maybe the lead reviewer can only look at things where the scores are low. So it's up to you how you want to use this technology and how you want to fine-tune your translation workflows. We have a lot of examples with our clients where they are using it for different purposes. So, for example, one of the clients is using it to change the way they rate the sentence. So if there is a sentence with a high quality threshold, then the post editor is getting slightly cheaper rate for that, because they are not spending enough time on that. If the quality score is low, then they have to pay more attention, and then the cost is high for post editing for that. So it's up to you how you want to fine tune your workflows, how you want to improve your workflows, translation workflows, to save cost, to increase the compliance, and to generate the best quality of translation.
Okay, before I go into more questions, I have seen a few comments in the comments in the Q&A that that Claude was not actually taking into consideration the prompt that I gave it. Yes, because I did not save the prompt, so it's actually my fault. So let me show how this should actually look when it's actually working, and apologies for that. So when it's actually working and I do actually save the prompt that I gave it, this is what happens. So you go into, and instead of bad, it says good. instead of, I don't know, English, this is my home, this is, I hope this is not my home, etc. This is what it was supposed to be doing from the beginning. And as you can see, I think this answered one of the other questions. This is how it looks, the whole workflow. So I have now prompted it directly into translation. I could have created from CMT side, you could have created another prompt in the automatic post-editing section that would have been just the same thing, right? So it shows in the same way. This is just so to show you that it actually does take into consideration the prompt if the human doesn't, make mistake in between. Sorry about this. So let me go back now to the questions. 1 second, I don't see them. And there are a couple of questions about whether you can use Custom.MT directly into Trados freelance version, not freelance version. Yes. So the Custom.MT plugin is already available for Trados, for the freelance version and for the pro version. You just go on the App Store and you can download it. To use it, then you have to create a Custom.MT account. You can just go on the Custom.MT website and basically register there, and then you can already use it. Taos is already integrated into the Custom.MT plugin, and therefore in Trados, is the QE already available in the platform? I see popping up. Yes, it is available. Depending on the subscription, talk to us. We can help you with that, and it is available in Trados in the way that we just saw. What else? Thank you. Thank you. Do we need to pay to use the plugin? For the plugin itself, no. For using the translation and Taos, supposedly yes.
Yeah, I think I also saw a question earlier on the automatic post editing, and of course we also talked about automatic post editing included in Epic, and for now the integration includes QE only, but of course, yeah, if people want it, I'm sure that this can be built into this Custom.MT integration as well, right? Yeah, and then for oh, I see Daria is already answering
Yes.
these questions in the chat as well. But indeed, after the webinar, we'll share a trial version for Taos as well as for Custom.MT. But normally, yeah, if you test it out and you like it, we have our pricing is published on the website. But also here, you're welcome to reach out and we can discuss the options.
Before we wrap up, I just have a question for you, ladies and gentlemen. So, was this what you expected to see? Is this everything that you hope to see and to work? Give us a little bit of a feedback. This feature is only being introduced. How do you like it? We've done the show. Tell us.
Good, thank you. There's a couple of thumbs up coming up on my screen.
Also, we would appreciate the feedback if you think it's not working, right? That will
Yes.
help us improve.
Iman, thank you for your answer. Very shy.
Looks like that's all the feedback we get today. A few thumbs up and
it needs to sink in a little bit, Konstantin. It'll take some time, and then we get some more critical questions and comments, I'm sure.
Right. Anne-Maj, you've been developing this for like 6, 7 years, 8?
4 or 5, I think.
4 or 5.
Meer, do you remember when we started with this? I mean, I say
Adam started 8 years ago. I kind of traced the not mentioned in any competitive product.
Well, Amir knows he was the first one working.
Started about 4 years ago, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I think you were starting when I was looking into this for the AMT as well. So yeah, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So finally it's here, right? And now we got it. Now what?
Yeah, well, it's been here for a while, but now we see indeed in the past months that there are more ways to use it, because we were offering it, but of course it's an API, so not everyone has the capability to write the code and implement it in their workflow. So having these integrations are really opening it up for everyone.
For the mid-market, right? So this is
Yeah.
not for the Uber level of guys,
Yeah.
but medium
Everyone.
size.
Yeah.
Right. Just to give everybody a fair warning, still, if you're using it for regulated or legal and there's no human supervision, know that you are at risk, right? It's a risk exercise. And every AI implementation is a journey. We've been implementing AI at Custom.MT for 6 years now, and we know that not every project succeeds. Right? It has to be done with persistence and with the political will to manage the change, to convince the people, to make the models work. It's usually a journey. We've built it to the point when it's configuration and go. But internally with the linguists, with the customers, you have to do the convincing. So if you are going into this direction, be prepared for a project to change manage it for a few months, I think. Good luck in this, and we're happy to help. Thank you very much, Anne-Maj, Amir, Elena, for this wonderful presentation. Everything worked. No live demo and nothing went rogue.
That's what you get when you let women do the job, Konstantin.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed, I am all for women.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that we have in this
Just don't take me to court.
in this whole education and convincing the teams and the parties you work with, we have a lot of free resources on the TAU's website as well, reports, articles. So there's if you have a holiday planned, there's a lot of reading that we offer for you to catch up on everything.
In my point of view, the best way to learn a skill is by doing it. I understand that Daria is distributing demo accounts. For the demo trial part, you have the ability to implement on your own content, try it out, find the right threshold. So the best way to learn is to just do it. And
in any case, do reach out to us if you need help, if you need onboarding, some tips. I suppose Anne-Maj and Amir are also happy to receive your emails someday. Reach out. This was thought, as Anne-Maj was saying, so this is not necessarily enterprise level with an API that you need to integrate. This has become more useful also for LSPs at least, where you can just plug it into Trados and make it work.
And there we go. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.